today. Hope you have
6 News in Papa-Lock want to keep your kids safe.
Jerry Seinfeld's wedding press, plus Hillary Clinton and her mom on ET.
Reassuring words from the president. The United States, he says, is taking extraordinary steps to guard against terrorism.
What I would ask the American people to do is not to stay at home and hide.
Far from home, the shuttle astronauts take a walk in space to repair the Hubble telescope. Plus, tragedy and triumph. One of the greatest comeback stories in sports.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. Dan is off tonight. I'm John Roberts. President Clinton says U.S. law enforcement is taking what he calls extraordinary steps to guard against terrorism. His advice to you, keep your eyes open, report anything suspicious, but do not stay home and hide over the holidays. We'll hear more from the president in an exclusive interview shortly. But first, CBS's Jim Stewart is following the latest U.S. efforts to keep terror at bay.
If you're traveling over the holidays, get ready for the hassles of a heightened security alert. The FAA is warning flyers not to show up with Christmas gifts already wrapped because you just might have to unwrap them for inspection. It was only one of several warnings issued in Washington today. The State Department was especially worried about Americans overseas.
We have information about the possibility of terrorist attacks in different parts of the world.
While at the Justice Department, officials stopped short of saying don't go to large gatherings over the holidays, but they did urge everyone to keep an eye out.
Well, I'd ask people, I think, to be more cautious, to be more vigilant, to be more aware of your surroundings, to report any suspicious things to law enforcement authorities.
Meanwhile, in Seattle today, a federal grand jury indicted the young Algerian caught with a carload of explosives as he tried to enter the United States on a ferry from Canada. Ahmed Rissam was charged with 5 counts ranging from smuggling to making a false statement. Investigators believe Rissam had accomplices in the United States, but have not yet linked him to terrorist leader Osama bin Laden, who is believed to be behind the latest threats. Investigators insist, however, they have no information about specific targets either inside the U.S. or overseas.
We obviously are trying to strike an appropriate balance. We're trying to make sure that the American people, we share information with them to the extent that we possibly can.
And in return, the public is starting to share with law enforcement a lot of its suspicions. Investigators are already tracking down tips about strange cars, people acting strangely, and things that just look strange. Federal agents say they'll check them all out. Meanwhile, Mr. Rissam tonight has pleaded not guilty to all charges. John?
Jim Stewart in Washington, thanks. At the White House, President Clinton was asked today about the threat of terror in an exclusive interview with 60 Minutes 2 correspondent Charlie Rose.
Mr. President, because of the recent arrest and heightened security concerns at airports, do you expect, worry that there will be an incident of terrorism before the first of the year?
Well, we are on a heightened state of alert, and we're doing a lot of work on this. But I would say to the American people, they should go on about their business and celebrate the holidays as they would. But they should be aware. You know, this whole millennial idea draws out a lot of people who are maybe, by our standards, deranged, and other people maybe even want to use it for their own political ends. So if people see anything suspicious, they should report it to the authorities as quickly as possible. But otherwise, I should say they should go on about their business. We're working very, very hard on this.
The president talks more about U.S. national security and many other issues facing Americans in the 21st century on 60 Minutes 2 next Tuesday night here on CBS. U.S. officials are looking into the recent travels of a Canadian woman arrested Sunday evening at a border crossing in Vermont. She tried to enter the United States with an Algerian man. CBS's Thalia Ashuris is watching developments along America's suddenly tense northern border.
Claiming they were lost and with a doctored French passport, a woman from Montreal and an Algerian man had their apparent trip into the United States blocked. Lucia Garofalo and Bobi Chamchi were detained after this Vermont customs agent became suspicious and called in sniffer dogs. The canines detected what may have been traces of explosives. Officials were aware of Garofalo because of previous crossings and after she was observed by surveillance monitors at different border posts this month.
Form X-rays.
Safeguarding the U.S.-Canada boundary is also the job of almost 300 Border Patrol agents who rely heavily on high-tech surveillance. How much do you think the technology has helped the Border Patrol do its job?
Oh, tremendously. I think it enhances our ability to cover more areas.
The command center of the agency's Swanton, Vermont unit monitors 261 miles of a rugged, remote frontier and is credited with making 45% of all arrests along the U.S.-Canada border.
Just back there is Canada. In remote areas like this, a video camera is trained on the road leading into the United States. As a vehicle drives by, it activates a sensor buried beneath the surface.
That sensor triggers another camera which pinpoints the car's license number.
This is our bread and butter right here.
Equipment includes magnetic, seismic, and infrared detectors, all of which are concealed.
Right here, you see, it's buried in the ground right now. It doesn't let us know if vehicles are coming through this area.
The Border Patrol has increased its efforts 20% so far and will double that percentage at least through the Millennium celebrations. After that, the level will be taken back down to normal. That is, if all else remains normal. Tanya Shuras, CBS News, Swanton, Vermont.
Huge public New Year's Eve celebrations are planned in Washington, D.C. and in New York City. They're expected to attract millions of people. CBS News correspondent Eric Engberg reports on what's being done to protect them.
The countdown has begun. For local and federal law enforcement organizations worried that New Year's Eve might bring a terrorist attack, a Y2K techno-calamity, or both, New Year's Eve means big defensive plans and big expenditures for police overtime. New York City will put 37,000 police, some working undercover, on the streets for its annual Times Square celebration. The vigilance level at places like the World Trade Center, once a terrorist target, will be high. At familiar Washington landmarks, where tighter security has been the rule since the Oklahoma City bombing, new precautions have been added. Yesterday, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was among those evacuated from his Pentagon office when a suspicious package was found. It turned out to be a false alarm. D.C. Police Chief Charles Ramsey, who knows that the federal monuments and offices make ideal symbolic targets for foreign terrorists, okayed $1 million in overtime.
We've canceled leave for all of our members, so all of our sworn and civilian members will be working over the holiday season.
The arrest near Seattle has triggered enough excess jumpiness that some authorities are now trying to dial back the tension level. New York's police commissioner said he and family will be in Times Square when the ball drops, despite warnings from outside experts. And terrorism analysts say there is danger in obsessing about threats.
Ironically, if people get too afraid and don't continue to do what they are planned to do, go to special events, the terrorist need not even detonate a bomb. He's won already.
Despite all the talk of terrorist threats at millennial events, like the one that will be held here at the Lincoln Memorial, police say the biggest threat to celebrants that night will likely be an old-fashioned one: drunk drivers, who they are also gearing up to stop. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a Hubble house call 380 miles up to fix the space telescope. An experimental new asthma drug without the side effects of current treatments. And a story of life after death. A resurrection of the spirit.
All right, guys. Here's your regular internet homepage. And here's i1.com. You use it like Yahoo, Lycos, or other search engines. Only i1.com gives away $10,000 every day, $1 million a month, and $10 million on tax day. Which one would you choose?
Oh, I see. Someone's supposed to struggle with this, right? So let's bring out the blonde.
Just doing research.
I'll pick the one with all of the cash.
i1.com.
Yeah.
Introducing i1.com. Why wouldn't you?
If foods like onions and peppers give you gas, then do what I do. Take Beano before eating. It has a natural food enzyme that helps prevent gas caused by many vegetables, including beans. And for me, that's great news. Prevent gas with Beano.
The look? A cascade of gemstones set in golden hoops. Just $1.99 and the matching diamond earrings are free. The holiday jewelry sale at JCPenney.
This is how hundreds of thousands of smokers have quit. It's the gradual step-down method, and you get it only from Nicoderm CQ. Store brand patches have only one step. You can't step down your dose. Nicoderm CQ has 3. You step down gradually, and gradual is the method doctors prefer. Quitting's important. Choose carefully. Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
On the CBS Market Watch, a milestone in telecommunications. New York-based Bell Atlantic got federal approval today to become the first regional phone company to offer long-distance service. The U.S. economy was growing more rapidly in the third quarter than we knew. The latest government estimate, 5.7%. Stocks gained more ground today. For the NASDAQ, it is now 57 record highs this year. And the prune industry is asking government approval to call its product dried plum, saying it has a more positive connotation. High up in Earth orbit today, Discovery astronauts Steve Smith and John Grunsfeld suited up and made the first of a series of service calls to fix the 43-foot Hubble Space Telescope. They spacewalked and worked around the shuttle's open cargo bay, where the Hubble was reeled in last night by a giant robotic arm. Their first objective, stabilize the patient with 6 new gyroscopes. I spoke a short time ago with CBS News consultant Bill Harwood, who's at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Bill, what exactly is the astronauts' mission today, and how's it going?
John, the primary goal of this mission has always been to replace Hubble's 6 stabilizing gyroscopes. So far, so good. John Grunsfeld and Steve Smith have installed these packages. They seem to be working okay, and they got their hopes high. I think this is a good start to this repair mission.
For people at home who aren't into aeronautics and engineering, what is a gyroscope? What does it do for the Hubble?
Well, it works a lot like the inner ear, John. It helps Hubble sense its position and momentum in space so that it can then lock onto these astronomical targets for long-duration exposures. I've got one right here. You can see it's a relatively small device. They install 6, like I said, 2 each in 3 different boxes. Cost about $8 million total for a set of these, so they're hoping to get their money's worth in several more years of operation out of them.
A few more spacewalks planned. What else is up for the Discovery astronauts?
Well, on Thursday and Friday, Christmas Eve, in fact, they're going to do 2 more spacewalks to install a new computer, a brain transplant, if you will, for Hubble, a new fine guidance sensor to help it lock onto those astronomical targets, a new radio transmitter, and some other equipment. Hopefully, when they get finished, Hubble will stay healthy for another several years, and certainly until the next servicing mission in 2001.
Bill Harwood, thanks for joining us with that update on the Hubble. Sad news during this holiday season. 3 children and 3 firefighters died today in an apartment fire in Keokuk, Iowa. Neighbors rescued at least 1 young boy from the burning 2-story building. The cause of the fire is under investigation. In Southern California, wildfires fueled by high winds and dry brush overnight drove hundreds of people from their homes. In some cases, those people had to drive through the fire scene. By this morning, the fires east of Santa Barbara and near Los Angeles burned up to at least 4,000 acres. Tanker planes were still busy today trying to put out the fires before the winds pick up again. Just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a pre-holiday U.S. relief mission to the flood and mud disaster zones of Venezuela.
I was about as miserable as a girl could be. Heartburn worse than yesterday's coffee. And pain. My antacid didn't do the whole job. And Pepsid takes so long. Then I tried Alka-Seltzer. It just plain worked better.
Alka-Seltzer, the only one with the medicines to relieve all your symptoms.
It really works fast.
And only Alka-Seltzer has the effervescent power to speed relief.
Alka-Seltzer. It made a believer out of me.
Get better relief. Get Alka-Seltzer.
Did you know harsh winter weather can leave even unexposed skin itchy and dry? Did you know moisturizers aren't always up to the challenge of itchy, dry skin? That's why there's Cortisone 10 Plus.
Among these, only Cortisone 10 Plus has 10 moisturizers like aloe and vitamins, plus the power of Cortisone 10 to stop itch and help heal.
So for itchy patches of dry skin, even eczema or psoriasis, try Cortisone 10 Plus.
I'm speechless.
Every year on Super Bowl Sunday, we surprise someone with $10 million. But this is no ordinary year.
Super Bowl Sunday, the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol kicks off the 21st century with $21 million. It'll all happen live on TV and at PCH.com. Watch your mail or go to PCH.com. Enter, and on Super Bowl Sunday, the $21 million winner could be you.
So you don't think it's a big deal to put up with diarrhea when you're at home?
Ooh, too bad you missed out on our $50,000 grand prize.
If you take Imodium AD right away, you can stop diarrhea, often with just 1 dose.
Pizza!
So, what are you waiting for?
Hello?
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Russia's prime minister said today the military campaign against rebels in Chechnya is nearly over. The Islamic rebels are still holding out in the besieged capital of Grozny, and Russian commanders say they will take the city without a full-scale ground assault in order to limit further casualties among Russian troops. Thousands of civilians are still living in the capital under daily bombardment from airstrikes and artillery. Most refuse to flee the city, unwilling to trust the Kremlin's pledge of safe passage for Chechen refugees. In Venezuela, at least 18,000 troops and volunteers have fanned out in the mud and flood disaster zone, where as many as 30,000 people may have died. In the hardest hit area, a 60-mile stretch of coastline north of Caracas, everything is in short supply, even coffins to bury the dead. CBS's Byron Pitts is in Venezuela tonight and has the latest on one of South America's worst disasters ever.
Tonight, Venezuela is a nation in mourning, with entire villages and shantytowns demolished by mudslides. There are neighborhoods here where the dead outnumber the living. Despite government warnings of health and structural dangers, some families have refused to leave their homes. Fearful looters will steal what Mother Nature didn't take. The president of Venezuela has asked the U.S. government for at least 2,000 body bags. There are no empty caskets left in this region, demoralized and broken by the deadliest natural disaster in South America this century. As the rescue missions wind to a close, relief aid from around the world is starting to arrive. Late this afternoon, a cargo plane was loaded with medical supplies in Fort Lauderdale, bound for Caracas, Venezuela. The first of daily shipments from AmeriCares, a nonprofit relief agency based in Connecticut.
They basically are in need of medicine, they're in need of antibacterial agents, water purification systems. They're looking for basically everyday item that we take for granted.
Finally, after a 3-hour flight, those supplies arrived here in northern Venezuela. But with 150,000 people homeless and thousands still missing, most here agree this shipment is just one teardrop in an ocean of need. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Maiquetía, Venezuela.
Next up on the CBS Evening News, tests of a promising new way to fight asthma with antibodies.
It's time for your heartburn to kick in because your heartburn relief gave out. It happens 2 or more days a week, even though you've treated it and changed your diet. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about prescription Prilosec. Your results may vary, but for many people, Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief with 1 daily dose. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible. It's Prilosec time.
Thanks for making a leave. For almost 5 years, I often had a hard time walking. I went from doctor to doctor and even had surgery on both knees. Most pain relievers worked for a while, then quit, and the pain came back. Finally, a doctor suggested a leave. Soon I could dance all night again.
Aleve can stop pain all day with just 2 pills. It would take 8 Tylenol to do that.
Now people say I'm a walking advertisement for Aleve.
All day strong, all day long.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down, guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right. Sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
I'm the Black & Decker floor buster. I eat broken glass for breakfast. I eat cat litter for lunch. Let's just say I have an insatiable appetite. I'm the floor buster. I'm built by Black & Decker.
Near Cannon City, Colorado, highway accident investigators are looking into the cause of a tour bus crash. Most of the passengers were high school students from Texas on their way home yesterday from a trip to the Rockies. 2 teenagers were killed, so was the 72-year-old bus driver. More than 50 others were injured. Investigators say it appears the bus skidded on an icy road. On the CBS Health Watch, research results are in tonight on what could be a whole new way to fight asthma. It's an experimental treatment with an antibody and without the side effects of steroid drugs. Randall Pinkston has more about how it works and what a difference it could make.
12-year-old Justin Grabeklis has suffered severe asthma all of his life. He never leaves home without emergency medication.
I know the severity. I know how quickly he can go downhill. I know how quickly it can become life-threatening to him.
But an experimental therapy known as anti-IgE has enabled Justin to keep his asthma under control.
My asthma, I can breathe a lot better.
Asthma is often triggered by allergies. When allergens enter the lung, an antibody called IgE recognizes them as invaders, causing air passages to become constricted. The drug targets the antibody and stops asthma attacks from starting. In a study of more than 300 patients, the New England Journal of Medicine reports that nearly 50% showed improvement.
This is a completely new mode of treatment, and it is a treatment which is interfering with the disease process without causing any adverse effects.
Unlike steroids, the most commonly prescribed medication for severe asthma, which can cause high blood pressure, osteoporosis, and slowed growth in children.
It has changed my son's life, and it's changed my life to be able to see him enjoy things in a more natural way as other kids do.
The new drug could be on the market in 2 years, none too soon for America's 17 million asthma sufferers. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
Smile, your family photos of candlelight dinners may someday be picture perfect without a flash. Scientists say that by adding just one chemical, they found a way to make film 10 times more sensitive to light. Coming up next, Eye on America, college football's longest comeback, nearly 30 years from tragedy to victory.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. New Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes in a natural way. New Healthy Woman.
You know, my friend Mr. Moretti, he worries about the arthritis pain in my hands. So he came with me to the doctor. Now I am on a wonderful treatment.
Tylenol Arthritis Extended Relief. Take comfort in our strength.
Don't miss the semi-annual lingerie sale.
The look.
Look who? JCPenney. Give the look.
My driving test kind of got off to a bad start.
On calls like this, you want to talk a while. That's why it's always a good idea to dial 10-10-321.
Well, I thought I was in first.
With 10-10-321, you save 50% on calls over 10 minutes. But that's just 8 cents a minute, day or night.
I was supposed to turn on the blinker.
And no monthly fees. And at 50% off, you can go on and on and on.
So finally, I pull out of the parking space.
Talk as long as you want with 10-10-321.
Hey, Annie Matthews. What's on your plate today?
Today's going to be great, but really busy. 10, maybe 15 cuts.
Lunch's here, Annie.
I'll probably grab a quick bite when I can.
Annie, your 2 o'clock's here.
And maybe get heartburn. I used to think Tums if I'd already eaten. Not anymore.
Now you can take Pepsid AC whenever you need it. Pepsid AC controls heartburn before, during, or even after you eat.
Of course I can take you.
No matter what's on your plate, today should be heartburn-free with Pepsid AC.
Tonight's Eye on America is about a football team that's undefeated, and not just on the field. Marshall University is headed for next week's Motor City Bowl in Michigan. CBS's Jim Axelrod reports it's the climax of a championship season for Marshall and the culmination of an incredible journey that took nearly 30 years.
In this locker room in Huntington, West Virginia, a college football team is praying for a comeback. and the game hasn't even started. Undefeated and ranked 11th in the nation, Marshall University is playing for its conference championship and a bowl game bid. Former player Nate Ruffin thought he'd never see the day.
All right, way to go! 0-27 by the time I got here. We had not won a game in 27 games. We were...
Nate, that's lousy.
That was terrible.
It got worse. After Nate arrived in the late 60s, Marshall was cited for recruiting violations and kicked out of its own conference. Winless and hopeless, they couldn't catch a break.
And from whence this program came is probably a lower point than any other program in college football.
Any other, no doubt about it.
Just when you'd think it couldn't get any worse for Marshall, it did. November 14th, 1970, the team charter was returning home from yet another loss. Flying through the fog and rain, the plane crashed just short of the runway. All 75 on board were killed. Coaches, boosters, 37 Marshall University football players, gone.
The bodies were all right with the aircraft.
It remains the nation's worst sports disaster ever. Just hours after this game was played, every player in white was dead. Every Marshall player but 3 who were injured and didn't make the trip. One was co-captain Nate Ruffin.
I identified one of my former roommates because I knew the chain that he wore.
It would take him 5 years to shake the nightmares, even longer to beat the drugs he took to forget. Nate Ruffin was plagued by survivor's guilt.
If I hadn't got hurt, I could have been there, and what could I have done? I always think, what could I have done to cause the plane crash not to happen?
Marshall is experiencing her saddest hour.
In West Virginia, it will always be known simply as the crash.
Bottom line is, we lost everything.
Jason Starkey, like so many who suit up for Marshall now, plays for 2 teams.
No one wants to forget because that's a piece of our history. And as sad as it may be, you have a sense of pride that you're carrying out something that they'd be very happy about, that they are very happy about. And I'm speaking of the 75 members that went down in the plane crash.
And on this night, Marshall will need some inspiration.
He's hit and dropped!
Down 20-0 at the half. The championship.
Yeah, he's in there!
The bowl game bid.
Touchdown!
The undefeated season.
Intercepted!
They're all slipping away.
It ain't easy, but nothing worth having is easy.
But when you've started from ashes and come back this far, what's another few touchdowns? In a finish more Hollywood than Huntington, Marshall scores 34 second-half points.
Throwing cone, touchdown!
And wins on a last-second touchdown. Almost like someone was watching.
There's 75 guys up there in heaven.
And what do you think they're thinking up there?
They're smiling and crying just like I am. God bless them. All these players, when they finish Marshall, one of the things they will remember, my 1999 team was great, but let's remember one thing. There was a 1970 team from which I came.
Sometimes in America, we make too much of sports. It's not exactly life and death. Everybody knows that. Except maybe the folks at Marshall University. For Eye on America, I'm Jim Axelrod in Huntington, West Virginia.
And that's the CBS Evening News. For Dan Rather, I'm John Roberts, CBS News in New York. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the Internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Cars with no steering wheels, smart airbags, 70 miles per gallon.